All right, cool. Everybody, welcome in. Welcome back to Freelancer Freedom. This is the path where I talk about how, I literally have this freelancing company, this consulting company, this digital agency that brings in minimum of six figures per year and just trying to share as much tips as possible, as much value as possible. As always, if you have questions, type them in the chat. And the ones that are very relative, I'll answer them live in a moment. Otherwise, I'll answer them towards the end. But don't be shy. Definitely use the chat as much as possible. Interact with everybody else respectfully, peacefully, and try to bring some value, share any tips you may have as well. Okay. In today's session, today's episode, we'll be talking about the power of relationship building and networking and how that can lead to referrals, which can lead to more clients. It's just like really, I think the most important thing that you can do when launching your freelancing business. Okay. It's so key, right? And what you'll learn today from a conversation I'm going to have with our special guest is that honestly, like this is kind of like where most of the magic happens. Okay. We may honestly, when we had a conversation about this, we called it luck, right? But let's call it magic for now. But yeah, seriously, like you just never know the power of a relationship. So I named this how it turned a hello into $6,000 because it's simple enough to make you really think, what does sparking a conversation really have the potential to lead to? Okay. And I just want you guys to really keep an open mind to that. Okay. So real quick, just to recap, last time we talked about the power of using these tools, right? And then like how you can get started really quick with just a few very straightforward services, okay? High demand services. We talked about everything from content creation, understanding paid media and advertising, understanding web development, and even app development, but using no-code tools. We talked also about freelance investing, right? Becoming a freelance trader. I talked about prop firms and how people will pay you to trade their money. These companies are giving $50,000, $100,000 away. I do it live every single day. I show people how I trade my funded accounts. So it's just something that you can start relatively quickly. And you just have to really put in the work, of course, right? Nothing comes easy, nothing comes overnight. But with consistency, we have a blueprint that could really help you get to a good level, get stable pretty quick. So if you missed that session, go back, watch the replay. It has been uploaded to the dashboard. And today, again, we're just going to talk about relationship building, networking, not being afraid, just to spark a conversation. And hopefully the conversation that you hear today is going to give you some tips and some insight into some best practices. And I'm also going to give you a bunch of cool tips and takeaways that you can always use. Okay. So yeah, cool. So I'm gonna go ahead and I just want to make sure I got my stuff pulled up here. Cool. All right. Also, after the conversation, I'm going to go into more details about some of the tools and platforms that I use to build these websites. I want to give you as much information as possible. Okay. And then also we'll talk about like how you can get started right away. And then also we got something really cool called like this accelerated path to where if you are looking to really get started with this quickly, especially because 2025 is coming and you need something to get started, I'll give you some insights on how you can start working with my agency relatively quickly if you can get through the training. Now the training gonna be intense. It's gonna be hands-on. It's gonna be some personalized learning. So it's not for everyone, but we'll talk about what that entails at the end. Okay. So real quick, before I get into the actual conversation with our special guest, Sandra, first I want to talk about what I did, right? Ended up building out these websites for these two specific clients, which was really cool because it was a mother-daughter pair. And I always love when somebody is happy with the finished product, so much happy, so happy that they're willing to refer you to somebody else, right? So these are the tools that I use, and I wanted to go over these tools because before you hear about the story, before you focus in on the money, you start thinking like, wow, if I'm going to make $6,000, that must mean I need to be like really, really, really good, really, really expert, specialized, in these things. When honestly, my background is in software engineering, as I talked about before, building apps, building websites, building algorithms and databases and cloud services. So I have some real like technical skills, but a lot of the times, like it's not really about knowing how to do some of those hard technical skills. It's just about knowing how to provide value to your clients, knowing what they want, and then knowing the right tools to use. Okay. Welcome in everybody who joined in. Welcome in. Okay. Happy Friday. So these are the tools I use, and these tools are tools that don't take long to learn. It took me, I would say 4 to 5 years, maybe longer, to get like really, really good at coding. These tools take a couple months. Okay. So it's just, man, things have changed. It's just a very special time to be in this world we call, digital freelancing, digital marketing, because like the tools that you have access to are crazy, right? So also for the people who do join the full path, I'm going to show you, I'm going to be building an app live. I'm going to be building a mobile app live, and it's not taking any coding skills, right? It takes 0 coding skills to build this app live. I'm going to show you, right? So we just live in a whole new world. So I can't wait to show you guys what we do. So for this example, I'm going to be showing you how I use these tools, Canva, right? I use this to design the mockups, right? So usually before I actually get into building with Squarespace or WordPress, I want to mock it up first just to make sure that it's like what the client actually wants. Okay. After you mock it up, I'm going to show you what that mock-up looked like. Then you can go into actually building out the website using one of these tools. Okay. Squarespace, WordPress, Shopify, Wix, Webflow. There's another one called Bubble. I can't wait to show you guys that. As another client I recently finished up, I used Bubble to build that out. It was pretty cool, really cool. But what makes Bubble different is that you could do a lot more with data, with live data and databases and stuff like that. So I can't wait to show you guys that tool as well, but in due time. Okay. Let's see. Any questions, just type them in the chat. But these tools are pretty straightforward. They all have a free version as well, but in order to get the most power out of it, you might want to pay that fee. Okay. Canva, they have a free version, and most of the stuff that you want to do is free, but it's like if you want to use some of like their AI stuff, you have to be on the paid plan. If you want to use some of their photos, their stock photos, you have to be on the paid plan. Some of their elements like buttons and cool little graphics, you have to be on the paid plan, but you can get away with a lot. You really can. Okay. The cool thing too about Squarespace and WordPress when it comes to actually building out the website is you don't have to pay for it. Usually it's the client's job to pay for it. You want to get it in their name and their credit card, and then you build on top of that. Okay, so I'll be giving a bunch more examples on that, but I did just want to talk about cost because I'm always thinking about getting started. And that's a cool thing. All right. All right. Any questions so far? Audio good? We all right? Before we get into this interview, audio's all well. Make sure I ain't just talking to the, if you can hear me, see the screen, everything as well, just type unlock in the chat. All right, we great. Okay. If you have any problems, just jump out, jump back in, okay? Now let's get into it. Let's talk about this this actual journey, right, of working with these clients. It started off. I'll tell an introduction, and then I'll invite Sandra up to speak. But pretty much, it started off. We were working in the same office space. A friend, actually, yeah. Shout out to Coach. Is Coach Craig here? I think Craig. Yeah, shout out to Coach Craig. I think Craig started talking with Sandra first. Craig is like, I wanted him to be here tonight. I didn't ask him to be here, but if you ever get a chance to talk with Craig, holler at him because he's really good at networking. He's really good at not being afraid just to speak. So I remember him kind of reaching out and just hollering at Sandra in our co-working space. And then he came back to me and was like, yo, she's pretty cool. I think he said she's from Ghana and this is what she does. I was like, okay, cool. I want to holler at her too. So I wanted to talk with her, and the conversation just went from us talking about her brand and my brand to lead into, hey, I have a client, right? So that was pretty cool. It went from this client needed a landing page. So the landing page was really simple. They needed something really fast. Sandra was like, hey, can you get this done by this deadline? She put a lot of pressure on me. She's very intentional, but also detailed and straightforward. She knows exactly what she wants. She has an eye for design as well, so she knew exactly what she wanted, which actually made my job a lot easier too, because now I don't have to do too much guessing. So the landing page was really quick. It was a smaller project, about $500. I said I would charge for it, and that was cool. But after building that, her client was like, good job. Now, can you see, pretty much can Antoine build out our full website, which turned into another project, which was now a $3,500 project. So I want to give that detail because I want y'all to not be so hesitant to like work on the smaller projects, right? This was a $500 lead or client at first that turned into something bigger. So don't, turn your head or turn your chin up and be like, you know what, I'm not working on this. It's only $500. You don't know what it can lead to, okay? And that led to, her being happy with that, which made the client say, you know what, my daughter now needs a website. Gave her daughter my email address. Her daughter reached out and was like, hey, I need some help with my website. How much is it going to cost? Okay, so we'll talk more about that and a proposal and all that stuff as we go along. But the outcome was 2 satisfied clients and $6,000 for our company. Okay, y'all follow? If that makes sense, type a 1 in the chat. Okay, and while y'all do that, just make sure we're good. I want to introduce Sandra. I'm going to go ahead and allow you to unmute yourself. You can go ahead and try to unmute if it works. But pretty much, Sandra is a seasoned content marketing, social media professional. She'll probably give a way better detailed description of herself. I know right now she's currently marketing director at her role at the company she's with. But she has extensive experience in various roles. Her background includes internships at BuzzFeed and Bookstore, and she has skills in all kind of content management. Like I said, she has an eye for design, literally, both digitally and physically. If you look at this image that I have up on my screen of this, I want to call it a dress, but excuse me, I'm not a fashionista or fashionista, but she designed what she's wearing right here. And I know that because we talked extensively about her brand, and I know that she's really good with her hands. Like literally, she puts these pieces together herself. So she's amazing. She's very talented when it comes to that. So without further ado, Sandra, are you there?
Yes.
You are? Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Okay. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. Hello, everybody.
Welcome, man. Thank you so much for doing this and being here with us on this fine Friday evening. Thank you so much.
Likewise. Likewise.
Anything you want to add to a little bit more about you, and because I don't want to just kind of pigeonhole you or put you in a box or miss out on anything important.
No, you nailed it. You did a really great job talking about how we met, and my background is spot on. The one thing I want to know is everyone here, what is your skill set and how long have you been doing that particular thing? If you can add that in the chat. So as Antoine asks me questions, I can kind of tailor the answers towards whatever industry you're really good at or skilled in.
Mhm. I love that. I love that. Can you repeat that question? What industry you in, or what's your
Yeah.
skill set?
So if you're a coder, trader, website developer, drop that in the chat, drop what title that is and how many years you've been doing that.
I love it. Cool, cool.
Okay,
Why you guys
great.
type that? That's great. Um,
Mhm.
Sandra, so can you talk a little bit more about what it means to be a marketing director currently, like in the role that you're in, and what does a typical day look like for you?
Okay, so typically I help people build awareness around their brand, their business, their product, their service. So I help them understand how to position themselves in the market, how to position themselves in the market, and how to position themselves in the market. So the value of the product that they're selling. So depending on what stage they are in their business, whether they've never done marketing or they have marketing and they just need help taking it to the next level, I'm the person that typically steps in to help it with that scenario. I've always been really, really good at making things better, prettier, more efficient, and great storytelling through writing and content. Even in high school, before I graduated in the 11th grade, um, a friend and I started a Facebook page that grew to have over 400,000 followers organically. Mind you, I'm failing like 11th grade English, but I'm like growing Facebook pages. So it's always been something I've always done. I love creating. So my job is to help people make more money through creating content. It could be writing, it could be graphics, it could be funnels, websites. If I don't know how to do it, I find people to do it. Like Antoine, we needed a website. I tap my network for help. So that's pretty much a day in the life.
Yeah, yeah, wow. That's really cool. Just a quick follow-up question. Do you feel like, is there any niche that you prefer? Like when it comes to helping people raise awareness and make more money online, has there been something that you prefer more than other? Or do you think that's important to have a preference? Or do you think somebody just needs to know how to do it in general and then apply it to different industries?
Well, my skill set was what I started off with was storytelling online, so social media, right? So this is when Facebook was thriving, like around 20, I say like 2011. That's when I started playing with Facebook, right? So I've watched social media like turn into the marketing machine in business versus like something like you just have for now it's like the driving force behind a lot of the businesses that we know today, billion-dollar businesses.
Hmm.
So I kind of just grew along with it. Like every time I got a new role, got a new internship, got a new opportunity, like I'm constantly learning what's needed. And now I've turned into someone that understands the entire scope of marketing. And so anything a business owner needs, and me being a business owner myself with my clothing business, I understand what's needed to fix the problem or take things to the next level.
Hmm. That makes sense. That
Yeah.
makes sense. Yeah, and I'm glad. Like the first thing I heard from you was like, I know how to tell stories, and that's so powerful because I feel like storytelling is timeless. It's like that isn't going anywhere, no matter what platform, no matter what era we live in. If you can tell good stories, then you can help people raise awareness and grow their company, their personal brand, their business brand, corporate brand. So, and that's what a lot of corporations want to do. They want to kind of become more personal, and storytelling is usually the way to do it.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. It definitely is. Like the key to marketing is making someone feel something. And the sad thing that nowadays is usually negative, but it still works for some people. It could be someone feeling sad, happy, something that is shareable, something that when I see it, I'm like, oh, I gotta send this to my cousin. You know, it's hilarious. So you want to create stuff that sparks emotion, sparks curiosity.
Mm.
Yeah.
Now, most people would think that, they think of social media when you talk about storytelling and sparking emotions, but just tell me if I'm, right or wrong, but people can do these same things even through email, right? Or maybe through advertising or something like that without themselves being on camera, right?
Yes, for sure. So that skill is called copywriting. So that is writing for conversions, writing for sales. So you can use a headline, you can use copy. That is my rule of thumb is that it should be written between a third grade and an eighth grade reading level. It should be
Hmm.
very simple and easy to skim.
Hmm.
So when you write content, you want to make sure that if you're having a long day, if you're busy, if you read the information, it's not going to scare you. So, like for example, the Meet Sandra paragraph that you wrote,
Hmm.
to some people when they see like that block of paragraph,
Right.
it's overwhelming,
Yeah. Yeah. Hmm.
right? So
Hmm.
I wouldn't send this in an email. I would edit it differently. So it's one sentence per line. So every sentence I do an enter, every sentence do an enter, just so it's
Smoke.
forcing it to look more like a script
Right.
versus, yeah.
Yeah. Like
So
you
those are
said.
just like small nuances.
Yeah. 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 Yeah, and I know we'll talk a little bit more about that, or maybe not, but it's probably a good time to bring it up. That's what I loved about working with you. on that client's project is that you had an eye for just the smallest things, and it's like I never questioned it because I was like, no, you're right. As soon as you would point something out, I'm like, yep, that makes sense. This needs to be a little bit bigger, or this needs to be lined up, so that way it's easier on the viewer, the reader. We just want to make their job as easy as possible, which is digesting the information. So that makes sense.
Right, exactly. And from what you just said, like being able to receive feedback and be willing to do revisions is very, very important when you're freelancing
Mhm.
because you're going to get criticism, right? And some people don't like to hear feedback. Some people will get offended. All of that has to go out the window because your
Mhm.
job is to deliver the product. So that's a really big, important part that you just pointed out.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah. You have to be very humble. Like still respect yourself. Don't let people like mistreat you, but
Yeah.
like you have to understand like they have a vision and your job is to just build it out.
Yes, for real. I
Yeah.
love it. Love it. Okay. Um, so you introduced me to two incredible clients after we met. What do you feel like stood out in our conversation? Like, what made you confident in recommending me to those clients, or at least to the one who introduced me to the next?
Well, you pointed it out. And the funny part is that you actually the $500 project came after you audited like what I was doing for free.
Mm,
So when we had our conversation about like my website and what I was planning to do for like another like product launch that I'm planning for 2025, um, you did all of that for free. So when the opportunity arose for me to need a website developer, instead of going to Upwork, which I typically do go to first, I'm like, oh, I know someone that's like, I met him. I know he's not crazy. I know he'll get the work done. And I
mhm.
know his process. So that's what led me to that first project. So you actually you consulted me,
Yeah.
honestly. It
That
just
was-
was it happened authentically though. I wasn't looking
yeah.
for anything.
Yeah, yeah. That's what I feel too. I don't feel like anything was forced. It wasn't like I was like, I didn't even know that that was a side business of yours. I didn't even know that you were
Mhm.
consulting on the side and freelancing. So
Mhm.
I think there is something to be said. Y'all take notes about just organic. Like you don't know where things can lead to. You just really don't.
Yes.
And that kind of goes back to something we talked about too, like with luck. Remember we said in our conversation, like how much does luck play into this idea of like freelancing, building relationships, getting clients, I guess.
Yes. So there's a quote, but I obviously forgot it. The second I need it, it's gone. But um long story short, it's 100% preparation, but 100% of luck. Like you
Yeah.
can be ready and whatnot, but opportunities come when you least expect it. So you always have to literally be ready. And when you are what you say you do, it's easy. Like you don't have to think about it, you
Mm,
know. So my advice is to get really good and be an expert in what you do, be confident, you
mm,
know.
I love that. Okay.
Yeah.
I love that. I think that was Oprah, if I'm not mistaken, but I feel like her quote was
Hmm.
opportunity equals preparation plus luck. It was like an
Yeah.
equation pretty much you put together. I was like, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
Right. Yeah, because like you build the website, you're ready, you're like, I need sales, and then
Yeah.
nothing happens,
Yeah.
and that's the sucky feeling. You
Yeah.
need some luck.
Yeah. August said it, stay ready. Stay ready so you ain't got to get ready. Yep, for sure.
Hmm.
So how do you approach building strong professional relationships? Yeah, I think that's the main question.
Yeah, so it's so crazy that you asked because like last year, I would say like the beginning of 2024, I was like, I'm a homebody. I like to keep to myself. People invite me to do stuff. I always like typically say no. But I was like, I'm gonna go out, I'm gonna meet people, I need to network. Okay. So I started doing that. And what I found is that when I go to events that I would have went to without the intention of networking, or if I'm in spaces that I'm forced to be in, like the co-working space because I was working, I have to be there. Um, I build better relationships in spaces I am in authentically versus like going to events meant for networking. Like, because you will get a bunch of numbers, but the conversations you have is very like, hey, what do you do? What do you do? What do you do? Okay, here's
Right.
your number. And you get the number, and then what do you do with the number? Versus like when you go to the gym. I met someone at the Lifetime, and that opportunity, me meeting her, led me to meet a lot of other people
Mhm.
in like the fashion space in Atlanta, right? And I was just at the gym, literally. Like, so look for spaces that you authentically want to be in
Mhm.
versus like going to events that say networking on it, because you're just going to meet a bunch of people that are looking to just get phone numbers, but no
Yeah.
real conversations will come from it.
Right. Right. I love
Yeah.
that. Look for places that you authentically want to be in. That makes sense.
Yeah, like even Starbucks, like places you go and just maybe just stay there a little bit. Like you have a bar that you like to go to, like around like in Buckhead, there's a place called the Citizens Market in Phipps Plaza.
Mhm.
That's right next to Salesforce, finance, what's it called? Mutual financial, whatever. A lot of like finance firms and really nice corporate jobs. They all come down there for lunch. And I've met so many people just going there to work, you know. So be strategic about the spaces you go to. Like I did say bar, but I mean like it might be like an elevator bar. You don't want
Yeah.
to go somewhere where like your client might not be there.
Yeah, for sure. Makes sense. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Wow, just I had a question. But yeah, that just makes sense. Like, oh yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, that's what it was. More so was a comment, like to piggyback off of what you said. Like being authentic, being in places that you authentically like. It doesn't even feel like networking. It's something to be
Hmm.
said. Like if you guys haven't been to like a networking event, it's like a race to get as many numbers and meet as many people as you possibly can. And you could
Yeah.
get like just lost. You walk out of there dizzy, like I met these many people. It just doesn't feel the same as like being somewhere talking with people about something you really, really love and not knowing, like you said, you're building that relationship as you go along. So once you finally say, I can build your website or I can build your social media strategy, it just clicks a lot different. It's just way different. So
Right.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Anything that doesn't feel transactional is the best, you know.
Hmm.
Like if you meet someone and you don't like get a sale, like you shouldn't be thinking like that. Just be yourself and provide value when the opportunity arises. It's a
Hmm.
passive strategy, very
Hmm.
passive.
I love it. This is overwhelming. I have on Monday. Oh yeah, yeah. Oh yeah. I know what you're talking. You told me when you're going into that work, right, Fatima? Oh, I was gonna ask you a question too about for freelancers looking to get referrals. What's one thing they should do immediately to improve upon networking approach? Since we're talking about networking and doing it authentically, but is there some kind of like strategy they can still have, even if it's somewhere authentic? Like when talking with people, what's some tips that you can probably share with people?
Yeah, so honestly, like the best thing, the only thing that matters is doing a good job. Like,
Mm,
like execute, like don't deliver mediocre work. Like do that project, like that check is on the line. Like you need that check. Um, like show up and show out. That's the best, that's the only way people will tell like their friends about you and recommend your services, you know? Like this person killed it for me. You need to work with
right.
them, you
You
know?
did a great job. Yeah.
Yeah, it's true.
Somebody asked, "What is it?" Because I know you're good at writing. So somebody asked, "What does a writer need to do before freelancing?" I guess they wondering like,
Hmm.
what kind of skills do they probably need to add before freelancing? Like, because just because you're a good writer, they're right. Like, what else do you need when it comes to now offering this as a service?
Um, Wait, sorry, I was reading
Kamara.
Karamara. Sorry.
I
I
think
was
it's
reading her
it's
comment.
actually Kamira. I always call her Kamara,
Kamira.
but it's Kamira. Yeah.
Okay, let me answer Kamira and then I'll answer that next
Okay.
question. Yes, so definitely provide them with the solution, even tell them how to do it. 9 times out of 10 people, even if you give them the answer to their problem and tell them exactly how to do it, they're like, I'm not going to do this. How much do you charge?
Right.
I'm like that person, like, I'm not doing this. I don't have time. How much do you charge so I could pay you to do the good job that I already see you can do? So that's what I mean by providing them value. Like, don't be afraid to give them it for free. So, one person you can look into is called Alex Hermosi. He's like Bible about this, you know. Okay, so the next question that you said about content writing.
Yes.
Okay.
what does a writer need to do before like offering that as a freelancing service?
This is hard to say. So, do you have any writing samples, or are you just going into it from scratch?
Yeah, good question.
Yeah.
Would you say that's important to have kind of like some that's really good because I remember looking into somebody who followed me or I followed them.
Hmm.
Yeah, I checked out her website and she had a lot of writing samples. So I think that's really a great first step is to be able to prove that you know how to write content, even if it's like sample stuff, right? Like if you create like a fake brand and say this is how I will market this
Hmm.
brand.
Yep. So, I guess I can answer this question in a couple parts. So, if you don't have any writing experience, then write some sample copy for the kind of an industry standard copy means writing. So, if anyone tells you like write copy, that's what that means. It's just words.
Right.
Yeah. So, just write the kind of content that you want to write for other people. Or if you have a client that's inquiring about your skills, create sample content. And yes, it's work up front, but that's what you have to do because they don't have anything to reference. And sometimes you do have to sell them. Like Antoine was talking about, he created a proposal for the project that I asked him to do. And like, yeah, we need to see like what you're thinking, like based off of what I told you, how are you interpreting that information,
Mm,
right? So the key thing you want to do is when you're talking to people is find out the problem they're trying to solve. And once you know the problem they're trying to solve, you can work from there. Like make that your core message. Like
mm,
don't
yeah.
be afraid to ask them. Just ask them like, hey, what are you trying to solve with this project? Ask them. They're
Yeah.
waiting for you to ask them because sometimes they don't even know. And so you have to get that information out of them through asking more questions.
Mm.
Yeah.
Is that part of like when you say you're a consultant, is that kind of like a big part of your job is to sometime pull it out of people, help people gain a focus?
Yes, you have to be an active listener. You have to listen and take notes. Like when you're having these consultations or even in interviews for like W-4s, like take notes during those conversations because they're telling you their problems. And sometimes they don't even know how to articulate it because you're in the industry they're trying to hire. Like if they knew how to do it, they would just do it. Like, or maybe they don't have time. And so, like, if you can nerd out on them about the problem that they need help with, they'll get more excited about having you
Hmm.
in that role. And you can make yourself more, you can stand out by speaking directly to their problems. Because most people, like, I've gotten proposals for like, tons of projects like from Upwork, right? And you can tell like they use the same template. They just change the logo, change a few things, and it's regurgitated information. Nothing is specific and tailored to what I asked for in the job post. So it makes it easy for me to sift through someone. Even if someone like says my name when they write back to me, it
Right.
stands out more because it means that they're not just copying and pasting information. You know, they actually read it. So yeah, just be an active listener and speak to their problems.
I heard that. Be an active listener.
Mhm.
I hope y'all listening. This is great stuff. Thank you so much, Sandra. I really appreciate you so much. I got one more question for you, okay? One more.
Yeah, no worries. I was my goal is to be the adult I needed when I was younger. So I'm like always willing to give information to people because I want
Yes,
people to win.
for real, for real. And that's why, yeah, it fits in so well because that's what this is all about, paying it forward. Seriously.
Yeah.
This is good. I told you I had somebody who was bringing some heat for y'all. Seriously, real expert. So I was going to talk to you about when it comes to people who, let's say, they start a freelancing business, they ready to put themselves out there. What platforms do you think are good platforms to start? You know, we got like the social media platforms. We
Mhm.
got like, you know, you can blog and stuff like that too. But then even like with social media, there's like different levels. You got like the YouTube social media, you got the
Mhm.
Instagram and TikTok type of social medias. Then you also have like the LinkedIn, Reddit type of like LinkedIn is one, and then Reddit I feel like and Quora are different kind of social medias. Anything just stand out to you, or any preferences in general about like where to find clients?
Yes. It really depends on what you do. So, um, if you have a skill that can be a W-2, right? So if you could do it as like a salary 9 to 5, make sure your LinkedIn is always pristine
Mm,
because that's always working for you in the background. Majority of my W-4 opportunities came from people DMing me on LinkedIn. Like applying to jobs doesn't work anymore. You can apply to 1,000 jobs. It's the highest likelihood of you landing a job is someone DMing you on LinkedIn versus you applying.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
I've even had someone 2 times this happened. I applied for something and I didn't get it because like the process was weird, right? Like I didn't even interview. It was just kind of like we just stopped interacting. And then like months later, I got a DM from the director there, and then I landed that, right? And then another time, someone DM'd me a role. I literally did not apply, and I replied back to their message. And then I got an interview without even applying because they know they already want you. When people DM you, they've already done the work.
mm-hmm.
LinkedIn recruiters, they are deep in there. There's like two sides of LinkedIn. There's a recruiter side, and then there's like front facing, like us, like what we don't see with like just like the people using it. But the recruiters, like they've already done all the work. So by the time they DM you asking you if you want a job or if you want to interview, they really want you.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, great point. Great point.
Yeah.
You're
And
so
then
right.
if Yeah, and then the other side of that is if it's not like a W-2 job, so like if it can be something that typically can be freelance, like graphic design, website developing, or like um something that someone could hire a freelancer for. Because like I saw someone does jewelry design, like I wouldn't put that on like Upwork, right? But like someone that does like the website developing or graphic design, that's like an Upwork thing. Cause like if I need someone to help me do something, I will go to Upwork first before even Fiverr. Cause Upwork, talent is more like they're better.
Yeah, yeah,
In
quality.
my opinion, yeah.
Their quality, yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So like I had a freelancer, this is another way I built my working network. At a W-4 role I had, we needed help with video content creation for social media. And I found an editor on Upwork, right? And he ended up making over $50,000 in less than a year because I'm just sending him all my projects because he was
Yeah.
fast, he was professional, and he had great communication, and he always did a good job. I could tell him to revise something 50 times, and he would do it no problem, no attitude, and that got him $50,000 through Upwork.
Mm.
Yeah,
Per
people
day.
just want to work. People want
Mm-hmm.
it to be easy, you know.
Right, right. And it's
Yeah,
not gonna always be easy.
yeah. So those are two options. And like for the person who does like art and jewelry, like TikTok and Instagram would be better for you. Um, but optimize everything. Just be everywhere, but make sure your LinkedIn is pristine because that's always working for you. Yeah.
Lot like you said, a lot higher quality leads. You get more. And for the people who don't understand what she's saying about W-2, W-4, pretty much she's talking about how like your freelancing skills can lead to like a full-time role. So you may start off, getting a client here, a client there, but let's say that you're looking for something more stable structure. You just want like, I just want to have a full-time job. So you can go from
Insurance.
right, exactly. Insurance, exactly. So you can go from being a freelance web developer to saying like, no, you know what, I'm looking for just one company. So you could start off making 500, 1,000, $2,000 for websites. And the next thing you know, if your LinkedIn is all set up right, somebody's going to call you and say, hey, we want to offer you 80,000 a year, 120,000 a year, something like that. So
Mhm.
yeah, yeah, it's really great advice. And I know a lot of people sleep on LinkedIn, but yeah, don't stop. Wake up, wake up, wake up.
Oh yeah, LinkedIn is for professionals, like corporate professionals. It's not your Instagram, it's not TikTok. The people that post for companies on LinkedIn and TikTok are Instagram and TikTok are on LinkedIn. Like that's where you can meet the people who ran Kamala Harris campaign, who runs Duolingo. They're there. You can actually DM those people there. Because everyone puts their job title and their company in their bio. And I highly recommend you paying someone to do it for you because I've never done my LinkedIn by myself. I always paid someone.
Ah,
It's
good.
like a resume, you know, you want to pay
Yeah,
that.
really good tip. I didn't think about that. Like, It's that important too, and there's so many features on LinkedIn. It is that key. Like optimizing is
Mhm.
not easy for LinkedIn. It's really not.
Mhm. It's a passive platform, but it works.
Hmm. Wow. Good. Good. Any last questions? Any other questions? I see a lot of thanks. Yeah, we do
Oh,
appreciate you coming here with us today. This video is going to provide value to people for years to come. Thank you so much.
oh, yeah, no worries. I wish you guys all the best and definitely listen to Antoine because he's good people's and he knows his stuff.
Yeah, that's what's up. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Um, I know you got, it's Friday night. Thanks for spending some time with us. I'll follow up with you. You definitely free to hang around, but I know you probably got things to do. But I'll follow up with you, and I owe you a lot. I owe you a lot.
It's okay.
I do.
If any and if anyone has any questions, you can just shoot them my way and I could like
How do
link
people get in
you.
touch with you?
How can you? LinkedIn and Instagram. I don't have it up right now. Let's see.
Yeah, you could
Uh,
pull it up. We could drop it in the chat, and
yeah.
um, I'll
I guess
grab.
while I pull that up, I can answer a few more questions. I have to pull it up. Let's see.
What's the IG? Yep.
Sandra.
Yeah, this is really good. This is really good. And that's what I will say too is like working with people because we talked about this whole idea of referrals, right? And that book, that ebook I put together for you guys, I hope you read it. It's in the resources section. Talked about referrals. So I'm I'm super sure that Sandra could have built this website that I built for her client. She could have built it, right? But sometimes it's not about that. Like it's about time management. She had other things that she was working on.
Yes.
So she reached out and said, boom, can you build this for me? So it's okay to network with people who even do the same thing that you do because, example, I build
Mhm.
websites, but I don't want to work on every website that I build. So I'm looking to for people who also know how to do it or willing to be trained so that way I could pass along those clients to you. So you just never know. Like network with as many people as you can, build those relationships, don't let them go to waste. Follow up with people afterwards. It did take some follow up. She made sure that I was really serious about doing it, and it turned into something good.
Yes. And I just want to add that I definitely am not a coder, so I needed you. So, but
Yeah,
thank you. I can do a little something,
yeah, you
but
can do
not
some
like,
things, but you're right. It
yeah.
was a couple things because I didn't code this website, but there was a couple elements that needed to be customized, and she was like, "How do you do this?" And I was like, "Oh no, we need some code for that. We definitely need some code." Okay, okay, thank you.
Yes, for sure.
Perfect. So
Okay.
she dropped her info. It's in the chat below. I'll also make sure it's underneath the replay video on the website as well, so you can get in touch with her. Um, Obviously, she's an open book, willing to share a bunch of information. But I know I'm gonna say this again. We got a very positive tribe, but just listen, y'all. Be respectful. All right, please be respectful. I know I don't have to say it, but I'm gonna say it just in case because I warned you. All right. She my people's now, so you can't you violate her, you violate me. So I'm coming for you. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you so much. We appreciate your time.
Absolutely.
And, hey, we may call you back one day. That would be great if we can have you again.
All right. You guys have a great night. Be sure to listen to Antoine. He knows his stuff. I'll
Yeah,
say that
thank you
every
so
day.
much. I appreciate you. So,
All right. Bye, guys.
all right, we'll touch base soon. Peace.
Bye.
Cool. Yeah, I hope y'all found that helpful. I really do, man. If that was good for y'all, type unlock in the chat real quick. Spam the chat, unlock it up real quick, and we're gonna keep this session moving. Wow, that was really good. I learned some new things. I'm telling you, she's a pro. She's an expert for real, for real. Wow, wow, that was dope. Okay, I'm excited. I'm excited. Like this is really good stuff. That's what I mean about network, right? We really build us a powerful network. We can do anything. I can't wait to be like her. For real, man. Really cool.